most amazing, beautiful soul sister BFF sitting here on the couch with me, Miss Aliya Bettajim. Yes.
Oh my God. Cheers.
Cheers. You know what? And this is exactly the energy and the vibe that we're going for today is just fun, magic, and silliness and laughter.
And a lot of laughter.
Yeah, this has
'Cause
been our
that's how
intention.
you're supposed to live life.
That's right.
Yeah.
The intention of this awesome conversation is to talk about a lot of things. We want to talk about how Aliya and I met, and then also about her story. We have so much in common that we had
Insane.
no clue.
Yeah. Like insane synchronicity. Synchronicity.
And you know what? This is the best part is even my son was like, I love her accent. It is so cool.
I'm like, what accent?
And she's like, synchronicity.
Synchronicities. That accent.
Yes, there's a hair on your microphone. Yes, I love your accent. It's your Filipino little, I don't even know. It's like a mix of all the things.
Yeah. I'm just like discombobulation of genes.
You're the best. What actually are you? What are you made of? Besides
I'm made of love.
a light spark of angelic energy. But what does your shell consist of?
So my dad is I think his half or a quarter Spanish, but my grandma is a native. She's like when you see my grandma, she's almost like you'll think she's black. She's that much of a native of the Philippines.
Wow.
Yeah, and my mom is just Filipino. They're
So you've got just a little bit of something else besides Filipino.
yeah, I just have a little bit of white.
Filipino.
Yeah,
I love it.
Filipino, and then the rest is jalapeno.
Because you're firing it. And you know what's so great about this is we've been wanting to record together for so long. And we were going to record on Monday,
Yeah.
and then it just
Didn't work
happen.
out. Yeah.
And then we're like, okay, Sunday's going to be our day. We're going to block the whole day to just spend the day together, do all these things. And it turns out not only is it Leo season, which is your birthday month,
Yeah.
which we're going to have to talk about that later.
Yeah.
And the signs.
That's another crazy thing. Yeah.
This is a whole other level.
Yeah.
So her birthday is not only coming up, but also the fact that today is the new moon. We've got Mercury retrograde. And like a lot of people think like all this stuff is like woo woo and whatever. But I'm like, we're energy. Like the planets, we're on Earth, like we're on Earth floating in this galaxy in the universe with so many other planets, galaxies, stars, universes. How can we not think that we aren't affected by these things? We are no different than the tide and the different of the ocean where the moon affects it, the waves, the ripples, all the things. We are so much more than just freaking a tiny little human on this planet. We are vast, and we are definitely moved by other things.
Yeah.
We don't even know. We know like 4%, if that, of what the hell we're even doing here.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think people are just we are so distracted of like everyday life of working, having a 9 to 5 job, trying to live, trying to pay taxes, everything that we've lost our true identity of what we're meant to do in this world. Like it's so sad. But at the same time, this is why there's people like Kristen to just remind you that, hey,
wake up.
It's new moon today.
It's like, wake up to who you are, like who we all came here to be.
Yeah.
Besides, like you said, it's like an ant going to do the same thing in the same cycle, the circle jerk, time and time again. Right? It's like, we got to wake up to our full potential.
Yeah.
And remembering of who we are.
Who we truly are.
Yeah. And this has been quite a journey to get us even to this point.
Yeah.
But I think we should go down memory lane because it's so long ago.
Yeah. We truly believe we're sisters somehow in like,
oh yes,
a different lifetime. Like
100%.
Me and Kristen is like, it's insane how we met and everything that's like similar between the two of us. It's almost creepy.
Yes. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, we found each other in this lifetime and now we get
Yeah.
to just have so much fun.
Yeah. I remember when I told her, I'm like, maybe in our past lives we were like, you know what? On our next lives, we'll be like completely from different side of the planet, and then we'll find each other.
Exactly. Cheers.
Cheers.
We did it.
And here we are.
And here we are.
On this Hoktua thing.
Hoktua. Oh my God, Aliya, I love you so much. It's just a vibe. It's just a vibe from the beginning to the end. So why don't we share what brought us together and a little bit of the story. I want to let you kind of take over that part of
how we met.
Yes. From way back last year.
Way back last year. So me and Kristen met through dance with Empower. So I joined Empower last winter of 2023. That was January. Started January 2023. So I went into class, and obviously one of the first people that I've noticed was Kristen, and we were all like, this bitch. So, there's that curiosity, but like we never really like we talk, but like very like hi, bye. It's like oh, to bye. And now we're like, this is so funny. So anyways, we didn't really hang out or became close until this year. This is the year that we really like. I've taken your like some of your circles and stuff.
Yes.
But other than that, it was more of like a professional relationship.
Professional. Yeah, it was more like honestly, it was kind of like, let's rewind for a sec. Back in class, because from my perspective, I remember she came in and I was just like, oh, she's got a vibe. She's super cool. She's beautiful. And it's like, let's just let's peel the onion a little bit. Women naturally have to like check out their competition. Like, who's this girl?
When you see someone that's like really beautiful, good looking, you start to become intimidated in a way. I don't know if there's any other word for it.
That's the perfect word.
Yeah.
Where we were both feeling the same thing.
Yeah, that's why we're like,
but we were like intrigued and not ego and like stuck up. But at first, that's usually what happens to women. They're kind of like, oh, we just need to like feel it out. It's like animal times back in animals, except we don't sniff each other's butts.
Imagine.
It's like,
oh, you a bitch.
She's a bad bitch. She's a Leo. So this was cool though, because what happened was we were beside each other.
Yes.
In this class.
Yes.
For our dance.
Because I remember Shay, at the start of the term, Shay always has this activity where we go in a circle and like tell us your name and like a fun fact. I remember it was you, Natalie, and then me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. I like vividly remember that. Yeah. And you were talking about how you have a podcast.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to think that I'm on your podcast now.
Well, yeah, it's like
crazy.
I know. That's
so wild.
It's such a circle jerk.
It is. That's the perfect word for it.
It really is.
Circle
jerk. Right back. It's like remembering all the things. So we saw each other and it was crazy because we were dancing beside each other. And Aliya, you were not sure if you were going to do the performance after the 10 weeks. Is that true?
Yes. Yeah. So I signed up thinking in my head that I'm only doing 8 weeks, just because I was like, doing the show, no way, because I've never danced before. Dance
so
is
crazy.
Something that I've always just like, like I've always admired dancers. I've always wanted to be a dancer. But we all have this thinking of like, oh, if we didn't do it as a kid, it's too late for us. Like if I didn't dance at like 3 years old, there's no way I'm learning it, or like there's no way I'm gonna be able to dance
and to pick it up.
Yeah.
And isn't that such a lie?
Yeah, like
she's living proof.
Yeah.
And another reason why we wanted to have this conversation was because we hope this finds people that have all these hidden passions, whether you're good at it or not, start before you're ready.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if you have dance background, because Aliya had none and she's done leaps and bounds
Yeah.
in this last, it hasn't even been a year. No, it's been a year.
It's been a year. It's been over
It's been over a
just
year now.
over a
Sorry.
year. Yeah. Yeah.
Because I guess that would have been January was in a year. Now we're
Yeah.
in August.
Yeah,
Like,
we're in
where are
August.
we?
We're
Where
like,
are we?
where are we? Yeah, so it's about a year and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like she's done crazy things and it's
Yeah.
amazing. And
Yeah.
I'm just so proud of you and grateful for this whole thing. So if you think and you admire other people and they're dancing or they're painting or they're singing, it is never too late.
Yeah.
Like it is, that's a lie. That's
Yeah.
a belief system that has been implanted in your head from such a young age that doesn't serve you any longer. And it's time to let that go.
Yeah.
So we are in the class and then you end up staying, of course.
Yeah. So I emailed Shay and I was like, Shay, what if I'm not comfortable to do the show at the end of the 10 weeks? And she was really confident. She replied to me and she was like, I've never had anyone that went on stage not confident. So I was like, okay, well, if she's confident enough to say that, then I like a lot of times we sabotage ourselves.
Perfect.
A lot of times the things that stops you from doing what you're supposed to do or what you want to do is literally just you.
Yeah.
And I have to say that to myself still every day.
Same.
Because we're at the end of the day, we're all human and we still like get doubts and we always like to compare ourselves to others and other people's journeys and experiences, which I think we shouldn't. But again, I'm still guilty of it. We still all do it. And it's just something that we all have to kind of actively work on.
Yeah. It's like rewiring the brain constantly.
Yeah.
It's that little girl that didn't think she could do the things that she always could do.
Yeah. Yeah. So I emailed her and yeah, she responded to me. And so I was like, okay, well, maybe I should just do the show. So anyways, I just did the 10 weeks and my heart was pounding on the 10th week. I was like, oh my
God. What did I do to myself?
Yeah. So this is another, I don't know if you remember this, but at the show, I would, because remember the show opener for the first show, a Terry Fox, the feel good one? I was right behind you.
Yes.
And I was telling you how it's my first show. And you were actually the one that was assuring me of like, it's okay, just shake it off. And you're like, you taught me how to just like, your nerves are just shake it off and just talk to yourself that you can do it. Do you remember that?
I don't.
I vividly remember that because you're literally right in front of me. And I was literally like, my butthole was sweating. I was like, oh my God.
I was like, what am I doing?
Yeah, because that was well, we already did the 2 runs of the show, but it's no audience. But when the audience came in, I was like, oh my God, I want to go home. I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like instantly fear and regret and like, I don't want to do this. And that was the cool thing is, like I said, we were dancing right beside each other
all the
always.
time.
Always.
All
And this
the
is
time.
like, we understand life best backwards when you look backwards, because when we looked back, Aliya was looking back. She's like,
Yeah.
Kristen, we've been beside each other
all the time.
the whole time.
Yeah.
And it was like the universe was like, bitch, talk to each other.
Like, say hi.
Yes.
Like, why are you guys? Well, we did talk.
We did, yeah.
It's not like nothing that we initiate of like, hey, let's hang out. Like,
Yeah.
you know. So it's really cool.
We had no idea.
It's crazy when I look back on those videos. It was just like, wow.
Such a vibe.
Yeah.
And like, you know, that's the biggest thing. And what I always love to do, obviously, is help others and empower them and like get them out of their fear to be like, that fear is just excitement because you're doing something new.
Yeah.
And it was like, once you did it, how did you feel?
I felt like, oh my gosh, that show high that everybody's talked about, it's real, you guys. Like, it's so real that it lasts for like days.
Yeah.
Like you're so nervous going on stage, but once you're done with the show, you want to literally go back up.
You're like, oh, let me go back on right now.
Yeah, like I want to do the term again. Like I'm on my fifth, like I just finished the fifth show.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
She's addicted.
it's like, it's addicting.
And you know what? We just have to like shout out Shay here
Oh
of
yeah.
like all that she's been through and what she's created because it's the vibe. It comes from the top.
Yes.
And then it's like the teacher, the CEO, the one that's leading the way is going to set the ground rules for support
Yeah.
and connection and caring about each other and not gossipy and judging
Yeah.
others. Even though that stuff can happen anywhere,
Yeah.
it's a there's no she tolerates zero
Yeah.
of that.
Yeah.
It's just love and support.
Yeah.
And like the moment that, of course, she would have met Aliya, that's why she's like, no, you're fine. You're going to be good to do the show. Like she just knows these things.
Yeah.
It's just the belief in thyself and
Yeah.
our confidence. And that's half, like literally three-quarters of what dance is that once you become confident in yourself and give yourself permission to show up and try and to keep doing better,
Yeah.
you get so good. And then you like look at yourself, you love yourself, your body changes. It's like the most amazing workout.
Yeah.
You meet incredible friends.
Yeah. Oh, true. Absolutely. And this is how I've always looked at things. And when I remember when people would ask me, "What's your talent?" And usually people will be like, "Oh, I sing, or I dance, or I paint, I draw," or like,
I
or
had to.
that.
I had to.
That was so good.
Totally kidding.
But I had this thought when like years ago of like when somebody asks me what my talent would be, it would be learning.
Oh, damn.
Like you're always capable of learning. It's just up to you if you're open to learning and to committing to yourself. Like just
Damn.
commit. If you're always self-sabotaging or like doubting yourself, then you told that to me when the things that you say about yourself or you believe about yourself is what you are.
Yes.
So if you think that you're not good enough or you're not capable, you can't do it, guess what? You can't do it.
Yeah.
And who's doing that to you? It's you.
Yeah. 100%. It's you versus you.
Yeah. And
Nobody else.
obviously like support around you is a huge thing.
Yeah.
And like with dance, like just like what you said as well about Shay. Shay, a powerful teacher,
Mm-hmm.
is one that's confident in you first. And I think a lot of Shay's students are excelling in dance. It's because she is confident in what they can do.
Yeah. And will push us
Yeah.
and push us.
And do chaînés and turns and all the things and push to the floor. You almost walked on. You're like,
I'm like, actually, I'm going to bring this up right now because this is good to talk about. And so with Empower in our dance, we do, like Aliya said, a 10-week program. You can do drop-ins if you don't want to do the show. You can only do 8 weeks. But honestly, the show is where all the magic is. Backstage, encouraging each other to be on stage,
yeah,
getting in front, facing fears. Your family is supporting you. The videos you get after, the community, the high, all of it. Okay.
yeah,
And it's just health. It's like health in this freaking wrapped up in this beautiful present for you,
yeah.
just a gift. And so there's different levels. And there's like now we've got beginner, and then there's beginner,
An advanced beginner,
advanced
beginner, yeah, and then intermediate.
intermediate.
Yeah.
Is it intermediate beginner still?
It's advanced beginner and then intro to intermediate.
Oh yeah, intro to intermediate. Okay.
Yeah.
And so if we go back, remember when did you didn't ever dance with Sky and Alana and them in our group?
I
You
did. So
okay,
that's the very first term that I joined.
okay.
Alana and Sky were still there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, this is perfect then to talk about. So, in dance and in life, things happen, obviously. And I had known and got close to some of the girls and even Katie from school, went to school with her. And then there was a shift that was happening, and Shay had taken some of the girls and moved them to the next group,
To the higher,
to
like
the next
intermediate. Yeah.
level, to the intermediate. And as much as we don't want to do these sorts of things, it's just inevitable. It just happens.
Yeah.
And like you get a little bit of self-doubt and like, oh, like, am I not good enough? Or like you just question yourself. And even though you trust your teacher, you trust in the plan and all the spiritual side of it, you have the human side, which is kind of like, damn,
Yeah.
like,
Like, what did I do wrong? Or
yeah,
like,
like,
why are they better than me? Like, you start
yeah,
to go into that rabbit hole.
self-doubt,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it just spirals.
Yeah.
And it's so cool because, like I always say, life is best understood backwards. There was huge reason. And Shay always knows when you're ready, and it's nothing personal at all. Like we
Yeah.
got to zoom out of the ego, right? But during that time, I was like, second guessing and all the things. And looking back, I was like, I wasn't at all ready
Yeah.
to change or to move. And it's like how you feel about yourself and believing if you can do it or not. So, anyways, the girls had moved up, and it was like the perfect way for then you not to have your who you're comfortable with in
Yeah.
class
Yeah.
aren't there. So then it opens you up to
New people,
new
new
people.
connections. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And like we then built and grew the most beautiful
Yeah.
group
On
of
Wednesdays.
connection
Yeah.
and love and support.
Yeah.
And it just became such a vibe,
Yeah.
wouldn't you think? Don't you
Oh,
think?
yeah. Yeah. Everybody just loved each other. Everybody screamed for each other.
Oh,
It's just, it was amazing.
and
It was
it
so
feels
great.
so good.
Yeah.
It's such a
Yeah.
thing. So I did want to share that little bit because in life, these things happen all the time, whether it's to your kids or to us as adults, whether it's in a job that somebody gets the position that you wanted,
Yeah.
trust in it.
Yeah.
Trust that the redirection will happen when it needs to,
Yeah.
and that there's always something for it. It's
Yeah.
like, and I get it now. I'm like, oh my God, I totally get it.
Yeah.
So back to you and I. So Aliya and I then, of course, were dancing together, and we'd see each other. We'd sit with each other, even like after the shows,
Yeah.
um, at
Like
Earl's.
backstage, yeah, like after the show dinners would be
Yes.
like, it's so funny because we're always in the same like group or like setting,
Mhm.
and like it's like we're close but far away at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
because it's like again, it goes back to that, like, like, would we get along, or like, does she like me, or like, like those just like weird things in your head.
Keeping people at arm's distance when we really don't need to.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's like, honestly, Aliya, too, I think because we've had trust things in our
yes.
past, and especially to like people not necessarily supporting us or, saying things behind our back
Yeah.
or not fully loving our light.
Yeah.
So it was like we would dim almost
Yeah.
to not be ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know?
Yes, yeah,
You
and
get
like
it.
that, you're not like opening up because you're already stopping yourself from
Mhm.
doing so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't until I think too, it was so cool because you started coming to, you did a couple of the healing circles,
Yeah.
had some beautiful things start opening up for in your realm.
Yeah.
And like, even just like your owl, like you have to show that.
I got this owl because I took one of Kristen's healing circles.
Yeah.
And the owl was just staring in my face and I couldn't get it out of my head. So I was like, okay, I gotta get that owl, which is crazy because my dad's passed, and my dad's always represented birds to me because he's always loved birds, which is also crazy.
Yeah.
Because it's as most of you know, Kristen's story, and Kristen always associated with birds too.
Mhm.
So that's one of the crazy synchronicities
That's the new language. We'll get it on a shirt.
yeah,
Synchronicities.
Less is more.
That's our thing too.
Yeah.
Less is more
Yeah.
in every area of our life. With the birds and with the owl, and obviously the owl in my realm. And as Aliya and I started hanging out and doing the
Yeah.
spiritual stuff and going for dinners, it just became like, just how do you even describe that? It was just like a remembering, and it was just felt so comfortable and like
Yeah.
I've known you forever. But it wasn't until Aliya had heard and known of, my experience and Dar's exit and my past. And then I started asking her, like, tell me about you. We'd go
Yeah.
for dinners and she'd start to share and unravel. But I want Aliya to go into her story because it is so powerful and what she's been through, and just nobody knows. And before you go into it, no different than others judge me or judge Aliya or like judge a book by its cover of like, oh, look at how pretty she is and she's got all this stuff together and she's got her cars and la la like all this.
All the things.
And
Yeah.
nobody just knows the
What
truth.
actually is going on, or what you've been through. And I attest to that, because when I first met you, and then you shared your story, and I was so curious, so I watched it and I was like, damn, like, like I was crying when I watched KK's story, because I was just like, you just always never know what's going on someone unless you actually ask, or you connect with them, or you open up yourself
Mm.
to them. So
I'm so grateful that you watched that story because that is ultimately what was the breaking
yes,
factor, I think, of us and you sharing.
I agree. And like I said, because since day one that I've met you, or I've seen you, there's that, when you feel something that you can't explain, and you just have that strong pull
Yeah.
to someone. I felt that, but I was always like, what the fuck is it? Like, what is it? Like, there's something about her. And that's the reason why I've always been curious. So every time you would like have a video, I'd watch it, or like I'd want to know, or like, especially when you're like, this is my story. And I'm like, okay, well, I want to know.
Right.
So like, it's you being curious and being open to
Mhm.
actually knowing someone, because I feel like nowadays we live in a world of just like me. Don't you
It's true.
agree?
It's true.
It's always just like me. Like, even no one have space for others. And I get it. I get it. Like, life can be stressful.
Yeah.
Life is crazy. Our
Yeah.
world is crazy. Our country's crazy. So like, I get it. Like, but we've lost, my dad's always told me too, like, no man is an island. Like, we've lost touch with connecting with others.
Mhm.
Like, real connection.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like everybody that knows me, like there's no small talk for me. I am who I am. I say who I am. It's just I wear my heart on my sleeve and I want to help everybody. And that's just who I've always been. And then let's go into your story, Aliya. Like, you know, watching mine, and then Aliya comes to me. She's like, Kristen, she's like,
What the
what
hell?
the
Yeah.
she's like, our stories are insane.
Yeah.
They're the same.
Exactly the
And I'm just
same.
like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So let's go back to you as a
All the
kid
things.
and growing up, and
Yeah.
a bit about you because I know this is going to help other people too.
So where should we start?
Where you grew up.
So I grew up in the Philippines. My dad is a Muslim. He is actually a really huge and well-known imam back home. So imam is like a pope, not pope, like a priest,
Yeah.
like a huge priest. So that's his entire life work. He's always he was a teacher. He was an Islamic teacher in the military and just in schools and everywhere. Um, and I grew up. My dad had two wives.
Look, all the juice, all the
Yeah,
tea is being spilled. And
yeah,
I'm so happy for
yeah.
this moment.
My dad had two wives, and my mom's the second wife. And we all lived in one home at some point. So we like two wives, two bedroom, just yeah.
How many brothers and sisters? Let's
So
go.
I have one full brother with my mom and dad.
Perfect. I was just gonna,
You're
I
like,
swear to God, I just told you, like, in my head to move up your
yeah.
microphone. She's like, that was
See?
fucking sisters.
um where was I? Yeah. So I have one full brother with my mom and dad. I have one brother with my dad and three sisters with my dad, and one brother with my mom.
Hold on. Not with your but yes, I got
With my dad.
you got it. No,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
don't mind me.
Wait, what are you
Nothing.
Okay.
Okay. So your dad and your mom,
Have two kids.
okay? And
So it's me
then
and my brother.
yeah, and then your dad and his
First
first wife.
wife has one son and three daughters.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you guys all lived in
One home at some point. We when we were first, like, I think until I was like 5, we lived in Manila and we had separate homes, but we moved up north because my dad had to take some work, and we moved in one home.
and that was like small.
Yeah, it's like our house was probably just as big as your place for
And
like
that's
6 kids and 2 wives.
and you're in the Philippines.
I was in the Philippines.
Wow.
Yeah. And I have a twin brother because the first wife was pregnant at the same time as my mom. So I have a twin brother, but from a different mom.
And how was that for your like how was that vibe when the first wife found out about the second wife? Like
So there was obviously, like, we've all just, I wasn't there. I wasn't born yet, but it obviously was tough for my mom. These are just stories from my mom as well. I've obviously asked her.
yeah.
But from what I understood, it's the first wife didn't know that my mom was married to my dad, and my dad kind of made my mom like the babysitter for the first kid of my dad.
Wow.
So they were in the same house, but my mom was kind of taking care of my sister, but the
Wow.
first wife didn't know. So, like, again, like, this comes back to, I love my dad. Like, I would not change anything. Like,
Yes, of course.
anything that's happened or anything that he's done.
No
But
judgment.
again, it goes back to being human. We've all have our shortcomings and
Yeah.
like the things that we've done, and
Yeah.
but they all happen for a reason. And
100%.
anyone that's affected by your actions can also be a lesson to them,
100%.
right?
100%.
So that was the situation. So I can't really speak so much about what's happened
Mm-hmm.
between the two of them because, like,
Mhm.
there's only so much that I can
For
understand.
sure.
But yeah, we grew up in the same home, but my mom was kind of like, she's not happy, so she left when I was 7. She moved to Canada.
Yeah.
And I was left with, obviously, with my stepmom, and obviously that wasn't the best situation for
And your
me.
brother, right?
Yeah, and my
Like, how
brother.
old was your brother?
My brother was 1.
Wow.
He was 1 year old, so I was actually taking care of my brother too. I was a mom at 7.
Yeah.
So I took care of my brother, and obviously I wasn't treated very well by my stepmom, which at the time it was really tough, but looking back now, I understand.
Yeah.
That woman was also
Yeah.
did not get things right, and she was also not treated well in her life. So I understand,
Yeah.
but then again, for me, like, it doesn't that's not a reason for you to treat someone like shit. But again,
A child. Yeah.
I've learned so much and grew so much from that experience as well. I wouldn't change anything.
Mm-hmm. But
Um,
it's like you're still allowed to be that 7-year-old child who it was so hard for because you
yeah,
didn't understand.
yeah, exactly.
But
Like, at the time, like, I wanted to, at like 10 years old, I wanted to elope and run away.
yeah.
So just because, like, I wasn't happy. I wasn't with my mom. Like, my situation at home wasn't very good, and you know,
And
things.
you guys were living in the place, you're with your stepmom, and you at this time had like your headdress
Yeah.
on and
Yeah,
the whole cloth.
I'll give you the photo so you can
Yeah.
share it if you want. But I have a photo of me. I grew up very, like, because my dad is he's strict Muslim, so I definitely grew up with the veil, like, fully, like,
Covered.
Islamic culture.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I did all the fasting, like, all that stuff. My dad spoke Arabic. I learned how to speak Arabic. Um,
And is that typical in the Philippines for
for
people to
Muslims.
be Muslim or
We
not?
have a good because the southern part of the Philippines there's a lot of Muslims, and
Okay.
before we were colonized by the Spanish, it's an Islamic, like most of the people there are Muslims.
Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't
until
know
the
that.
Spanish came and colonized the country and it became Roman Catholic essentially.
Okay.
Yeah.
Learn something new every day.
Yeah. Yeah. Colonization 101.
So you're living with the stepmom. You're basically like Cinderella
Pretty much.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, living quite an Earth school experience. You
Yeah.
chose quite an interesting
Oh yeah.
fucking journey, girl.
Yeah.
Just keep going.
So fast forward, obviously I wasn't happy growing up. Um, my mom's been trying to get me and my brother to come to Canada since I was 7, but Canadian embassy, us being Muslims, obviously we had a really hard time. They looked hard into our family, so it wasn't until I was 18 I was able to come to Canada because the my dad essentially got fed up with the whole process, and my mom and my parents got a divorce, and my dad was like, no, you're not taking the kids.
Yeah.
And so I had to wait until I was 18 when I don't need his consent anymore. So
Damn.
yeah, so it was a whole journey. And
Did you
um
go to school normally, like every other kid out there?
I did, but I was a shit starter at school. I was very like
No shit. It's like, let's go.
anyone that knows me knows how like like how my personality was really strong, and like I'm not gonna let anyone step on me. So
Okay.
that obviously was also applicable in school, where I'll correct a teacher and the teacher won't like it and they'll fail me and stuff like
Oh,
that.
wow.
So I did have a lot of like argument with teachers back in school. Not my finest moments, but I turned out pretty well. So
I love it.
yeah, so like I still went to school. I had a year where I had to stop because I thought I was moving to Canada. So my mom was like, no, just don't enroll for school. But then our visas got denied.
Oh,
So I
damn.
like I had like a year where I was behind. And then after that, I was waiting and waiting and waiting, and I never got my visa to Canada, and I just took psychology for college for a year.
Wow.
Yeah. And after that, we worked on my papers after I was 18, and then I was able to get my visa and come here.
You're like, I'm
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, I'm
You're
like,
like,
peace out.
peace.
I honestly didn't think I would ever move.
Wow.
I almost gave up on it because it was like since I was 7.
Yeah.
It was like every year we're like, oh, you're leaving this year, you're leaving this year, and it just never happened. It got to a point of like, I'm never gonna leave.
Damn.
So I never thought I'd be
Here.
here, right here.
You had way too much to do and to be here
Yeah.
for that to not come
Yeah.
through.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's wild. It's crazy because I just had that flashback right now that I never even that's wild.
You
Yeah.
did it.
Yeah.
So good. So when you were 18, it's basically because you didn't need your dad's consent.
Yeah, so there's more things that happen in between because my parents had a divorce when I was 14 or 13, and it wasn't good. Like it was a train wreck, and I was so unhappy at home.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually eloped. I ran away from home. I packed my shit,
Isn't elope mean that you
like
got
ran away.
married? No,
No,
elope means you get married.
I don't know.
If they elope.
I don't know, fob over here, so we never know. But like I escaped
Yeah.
basically. I snuck out of like it's you guys, it's literally like a movie where I packed all my favorite clothes in one bag and snuck out in the middle of the night at 2 a.m. And like
What about
if
your brother?
my brother was I left him, and
Okay.
it was a relationship like improvement we had to kind of
Yeah.
face when we reconciled when we moved to Canada, because like he had a lot of resentments, rightfully so, and he's always saw it as like, oh, you left me and abandoned me, and
But you needed to like help yourself.
I needed to get away. I was not doing very well.
Where did you, so you got a flight, you left?
So no, not yet. I actually stayed with my grandma because we were up north. So it's almost like the distance is like Kelowna and Vancouver. So we lived like almost like in Kelowna, and my grandparents on my mom's side was in Vancouver. So I had to travel back and live with them for a bit.
Okay.
And the funny part is I had to live there for like a few years, a couple years until while I was waiting for my visa because we had to restart my
At your grandma's place in the Philippines?
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So we had to restart our like our
Process.
visa process to
Okay.
come here. But it took like a few years, like 2 years, I think. And I finished my high school while I was waiting.
Okay.
And it's funny because I went to a Christian school, like a full-on Christian school.
Crazy.
So from Muslim to like full-on Christian school where we were like memorizing the Bible every
Wow.
week, every month. Yeah, it was like a massive.
And what about, are you wearing your head? Obviously, you're not wearing your
I
head.
wasn't. That was another thing that
When
was.
did you stop?
So it was so funny because every time I would go to my grandma, I wouldn't I would suddenly be not Muslim, because it's just the influence of because they're Catholic, they're Roman Catholic. So it's just that influence with them that's like, oh, like you don't have to wear it, your dad won't know and stuff like that.
Right.
So I kind of I didn't wear it. And the more I grew, obviously, and then like after my teenage years, I started to just believe in my own like
Your own thing.
my own thing that resonates for me.
Okay.
A lot of the Islamic values stays with me, and it's the reason why I'm still a good person, and a lot of my good values are because of what my dad taught me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's honestly the closest thing I could think of next to like spirituality, like a
Yeah.
lot of the teachings. It's just really the world is so misinformed
Right.
of how they see Muslims.
Mm-hmm.
It's so sad. Like that's just there's a lot of things I can say about it,
Yeah.
but the one thing I can say is how misinformed and
Mm-hmm.
how tarnished the how we view Muslims and
Right.
Islam. It's not like how what they say it
Well,
is.
it's also the media, and it's also whatever they want, or the news they
Yeah.
will highlight, or to justify why they're doing certain things,
Yeah.
opposed to, it's like all of us, we all live here,
Yeah.
and everybody, there's great people that are super spiritual, there's great people that are super religious, there's great people that are super this or that. It's a matter of the person and their heart.
Yeah. It's
That's
what's inside.
exactly.
And it's the same as COVID. If something is being pushed so much in you, like a belief, like the vaccine,
Mhm.
there's seriously something wrong if they have to work so hard in like,
Convincing,
yeah,
or like scaring,
or scaring
fear
you,
tactic.
or like just brainwashing in general.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a scary thing.
Yeah.
And I feel that's the same with anybody. If anybody is trying to make you, or like, you got to believe in this, like you got to do this, and if you don't do this, then you're going to go to this place or this place.
Yeah.
I feel like that loses the authenticity of free will,
Yes.
and like finding your place.
Yeah.
And that's still invoking fear. If
Yeah.
you're living through fear of I have to do this or else this could happen, you're being
Yeah.
controlled. And a lot of people, yeah, we've kind of gone off topic, but it's a thing.
Yeah.
And that's why like my whole motto is fear is false evidence appearing real,
I
and
love that.
step out of fear.
Fear.
Don't do anything in fear. Overcome it. And on
Yeah.
the other side of fear is freedom and
Yeah.
liberation.
Yeah.
So let's go back. So you're at your grandma's, and you're going to come to Canada now. You've gotten
Yeah.
approved.
Yeah. And I came to
And so you're
Canada.
not talking to your dad.
So because I ran away, my dad obviously was upset and he disowned me. So I didn't talk to him for 5 years. No contact. We didn't communicate at all, and I was basically estranged. Anyways, when I came here 2 years after I moved here, I was like, you know what, my dad's getting old. Like he's not gonna get any younger, and like whatever our differences are, I'm sure we can work it out. And I think it's time for me to just go back home and see where it goes.
How
You
old
know,
are you
like
this time?
that I was 17, 18. No, I was 19. I was 19 at this time. Wait, I moved
Because
here
you
when I was
were,
18.
yeah,
I was 20.
yeah.
I was 20 when, because that was 2016.
Okay.
So, anyways, I booked a flight back home because I was going on vacation, and I was like, you know what, I'll just visit my dad. And like a lot of people were worried because like, oh, he's Muslim, he might do something to you. And I'm like, I'm his,
People over here were worried. Okay.
yeah. So I'm like, I'm his daughter. He's not gonna do anything to me.
Yeah.
And so, anyways, I was just like, I'll just go and see. I'll knock on his door. If he
Did you
turns
give him a
me,
heads up?
no. I gave my sister a heads up, but he
Okay.
didn't know. But I'm sure my sister told him, and I just showed up, and I was like, if he turns me away, then at least I tried.
Yeah.
I won't be on my deathbed thinking like, you know what, like I never
Mm.
made peace with my dad. So, anyways, I came, and my dad literally was bawling his eyes
Mm.
out, and we were both crying, and we patched things up, and um
How long were
he
you there?
I was only there for 3 days because I wasn't sure. I
Yeah.
wasn't sure how it's gonna go, and I basically planned my trip to see him on at the end of my trip.
Yeah.
But he was so sweet. He actually took that day when I was about to come back to Manila to get on my flight back home. He came with me. He drove me.
Yeah.
So he drove me, he dropped me off, and he's always messaged me, and he's always told me I'm always in his mind, and I'm always in his prayers. He's never, not one day that he
Hasn't
forgot about
hasn't
me.
thought about you.
Yeah. So like that just shows you the true, whatever your parents
Mm.
may, even if it's against what you want or what you like, a lot of it is just the way they think is best for you. It might not be right, but
Yeah.
that's just how,
His mindset
yeah,
was too. He
yeah,
thought he was doing the best.
the right thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But obviously there's things as you get older or as time goes by, you start to realize like
Mm-hmm.
a lot of things. But yeah, so I came home, and we patched things up. We started talking again. And in 20, that was the last time I saw him. In 2018, I opened up my, no, actually, I was watching Lion King,
Wow.
and the scene where Mufasa died, is it Mufasa the dad?
Yeah, I think so.
When Mufasa died, I got a call from my best friend from high school back home, and he's like, "Is your dad this guy?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Girl, I'm sorry." He's like, "He was shot." And
Oh,
I was
I got
like, "What?"
goosebumps.
I was like, so he's like, "Dude, just go on Facebook right now. It's all over Facebook." I literally opened up
Uh,
my Facebook, and there's a bunch of photos of him shot dead on the ground. Literally photos of him with blood. It's everywhere. So, anyways, I had called my mom, and like few hours later, somebody posted a CCTV footage of him actually getting
oh
shot.
my God.
So my obviously we freaked out because I was like, dude, my brother is working right. My brother worked at Whole Foods at the time, and he was working like night shift. And my brother at the time, my brother is a great kid, like very smart kid, but he's also had he grew up rough as well. So he had a phase where he wasn't like,
Mm-hmm.
he had a lot of rage.
Yeah, a lot of anger.
So me being like, because I took care of my brother, I have that like mother instinct towards
To
my brother.
protect
So
him.
I was like, the moment I saw that video, I'm like, oh my God, my brother, like he's just about to get off work now. Like, what if this is the first thing he sees on his
Ah,
phone? He's like, it's not gonna be doing well. So I had to drive me and I had to get my mom for us to drive to Whole Foods and Kids and pick him up because I wanted to tell him the news like
for
myself
sure.
than him just opening up like, what the hell is
Whoa.
going on? So that's what happened. And so we picked him up, and he didn't show any emotion. So I was like, oh no. But yeah, anyways, he's dealt with it. I haven't dealt with it because I've always been worried about
Everybody else.
everybody else of how they are. So I'm actually just starting to, thankfully for Kristen, she's helping me go through it as well. we're sharing that grief together.
Mhm.
And now that I'm starting to move all those emotions, so now I can actually talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like share the story of your journey and also, what happened to him
Yeah.
and then also reconnect with him
Yeah.
on a different way in a different plane
Yeah.
on the spiritual side
Yeah.
and then helping like I remember and then after, Aliya and I first of all, thank you for sharing that story.
Of
It's
course.
huge.
Yeah.
It's like a big weight off the heart,
Yeah.
but it also brings it back up
Yeah.
because you're reliving it,
I'm like
imagining.
reimagining it. Yeah. It's tough to like, but sometimes like I feel like I need to talk about it because the more I
Yeah,
just like
suppress.
suppress it, it's just gonna eat me up alive.
Totally.
Yeah.
And it's like sharing your story and his story and also your healing journey. And like there's so many people out there that just suppress it and
Yeah.
like realize grief comes up at any time. It
Yeah.
doesn't just stop.
Yeah.
And
And
the longing.
a lot of it is fear too of like because it's such a we didn't know who is behind it. We still don't know. There's
Mhm.
like up to this day we have no clue of what it's about, and we obviously have like hunches and clues and like leads
Mhm.
and stuff like that. But again, it's the reason why I don't talk about it much is the fear.
Yeah.
The fear again of like, oh, your life is in danger. Like
Reopening.
if you talk about this or like it's a sensitive topic or like no one will understand or like just a lot of those things. So it's like I'm still working through them of how I can communicate that a
Mhm.
little bit better or like just get past the fear of like just talking about it.
And this is in a big way.
This is
It's
liberating.
liberating. It is so good. And you had shared with me your story, but also about your dad and the impact that he actually had and the amount of people that he helped.
Yes.
So it'd be nice to share that a bit.
Yeah. So I was you know how like if you notice in history, anyone that's said, "Oh, live peacefully together," they were all assassinated.
Hmm.
Like Malcolm X. Um, there's a bunch of people that were assassinated for just like literally just saying like
Peacekeeper.
yeah, like peacekeeper. My dad was a peacekeeper. His life work was essentially he was really active on interfaith groups where he had different like religious leaders. They would literally be in the same table just hanging out,
Hmm.
and they would talk and like share their knowledge and their values and stuff like that. It was beautiful. It was
Hmm.
amazing. You'll never see like a Muslim, Jewish, Buddhist, like Christian, all of them in one table, just
Being
peaceful.
together.
And like it's totally possible, but because of this divide and
Mm-hmm.
conquer bullshit that we're going through,
Mm-hmm.
people always think like everybody's against each other when that's not really the case.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, that was his life work. He's always tried to disassociate the word terrorist from Islam
Yeah.
and Muslim. So he's always been known for that.
Wow.
And he's like I said, he's an Islamic teacher. He worked mainly in the military. He was an Islamic teacher at the Philippine Military Academy.
Wow.
So that's where
And
work.
didn't you say too, like a lot of people knew him, looked up to him. So when you guys would go out places,
Yeah.
it was almost like
Yeah.
being famous.
Which was ironic because I grew up extremely poor,
Yeah.
but we almost walked like the streets like royalty. Like
Yeah.
everybody knows us. Everybody knows that we're his kids, or like
Mm-hmm.
every time like his my last name, because I'm my last name, like we're the only ones that have it. He made it up. So we're the only ones that have that last name. And like, you know what? We're just gonna be the only ones. So anyway, yeah. So like when people hear us, like they know who we are. Yeah, which was just very ironic because like in the house, it was just like we had nothing. Like we
Mm-hmm.
were literally poor. Um, and he was very active in a lot of environmental groups.
Mm-hmm.
Like, first of all, like all this climate change bullshit,
Mm.
I think they're all a hoax.
Yeah.
But that doesn't stop you from taking care of nature.
Right.
That doesn't mean you're not supposed to be mindful of nature and the trees and everything around you, because all these things have life and we are here to coexist with them and take care of them.
Yeah.
And my dad actually lived like that. He was not that like, oh, you can't like drive a car because it will hurt the environment and stuff like that. You know what he did? He actually raised money to plant trees and
Right.
have um cycle bicycle like groups, and do like a fundraising event
Mm.
of like let's say do 100-kilometer bike ride, and
Right.
they'll raise money, and he'll organize like a tree planting event. So he did a lot of that.
He was like a humanitarian,
He was more
like
of
an
like an
activist.
action rather than like, oh, let's not like no smoke belching or like
Yeah.
anything like that.
No,
Oh,
what?
smoke belching?
What's smoke belching?
Smoke belching is like you're just releasing too much fumes, and I think
Okay.
I'm right.
I'm no, no. I love it because I have never heard that term.
We
That-
use it a
That's so
lot in
cool.
the Philippines. They say that word a lot.
That's badass.
Yeah.
It's like smoke belching. That's almost like people just talking too much shit. Oh my God, look at it's a thumbs down.
That's so funny. Why is
What?
it thumbs down?
Because they clearly don't like smoke
Smoke
belching.
belching.
Wow.
Yeah, so he's
That's
there was which was
Mm.
it was so nice because when he passed away, it was crazy. There was a lot of people that flew from the Middle East,
Wow.
flew from different parts of the country just to commemorate him and basically support the whole family. And there was one guy that made a post of him, and he said it was so beautiful. He said something like, "Oh, Bedijim, my dad's name is Bedijim, which is my last name." And they said something like, "Oh, Bedijim is a friend of the mountains and the trees." It was
Oh
so
my
beautiful. It was
gosh.
like a whole
I
poem.
got goosebumps.
But that was the only script that I really stuck with me, because I was just like, that is so true.
Mhm.
He's always cared about animals. He's a huge bird watcher. He loves eagles. He loves we used to spend Sundays just like having binoculars and just go to the
Mhm.
forest and watch birds. It was so beautiful. It was great.
It's so cool. And it's been so awesome because it's like I swear I meet amazing people and then we get to the root of the story of
Yeah.
each person and their shame and their guilt and their grief. And then once we access it and bring it up, and then it's like, how do we heal it? But then how do we bring your dad back into your life
Yeah.
energetically?
Yeah.
And he's everywhere.
He's literally everywhere since I opened it, because I talked to Kristen and I was like, I wanted to communicate, like I wanted to open up more and communicate with my dad more now.
Did you just see the
Yeah, the bird. Yeah.
Oh, okay, this
Yeah,
is so good.
that's so wild. So yeah, me, Natalie, and Kristen, we were at East is East,
Hmm.
and I was talking to them about how I wanted to learn more how to communicate with him and stuff like that. And I did tell them how I could never watch The Lion King up to this day just because of
Hmm.
it brings me back. And literally, when we were pulling cards, what was that card that I pulled? It said, I will have like a message from birds, like
Yeah, a
birds
bird's
will
gonna
act
act, and it
different.
says birds are messengers that
Yeah,
we use to communicate. And it
yeah,
said, watch out for a bird.
yeah.
It's gonna act
Like
different,
different
and then it will
around.
make its presence known.
Yeah. So, anyways, we didn't see a bird that night, but there was a pianist at East is East, and he literally played the song from Lion King
Yeah,
as we were talking about my dad.
yeah.
And so I was just like, holy freak. I was like freaking out. And the next day I was driving and I was stopped at the intersection. There was two eagles flying above me
Hmm.
at the light. And then I was like, oh my God. And like I said, I've always associated my dad with eagles because he's obsessed with them. And I was like, Dad, is that you? And as a car pulls right next to me, it says 143.
Mhm.
So I'm like, well, there goes my sign.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It's so good.
it's crazy.
And it's cool because since Aaliyah has been on her healing journey and spiritual path and all the things and adding to her database to create language with him to communicate and connect, you can't make up
Oh, yeah.
like constantly what's been
Yeah.
happening
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah. And like, I am a very, I wouldn't say doubtful, but there's a lot of like out of this world things that I will question. I'm just a very questioning person. But then there's a lot of things that like every time I question something, I get an answer. And
Yeah.
like literally I cannot make that shit up.
No.
And like every time I doubt something,
Yeah.
I get an answer back and I'll just be like, well, I can't doubt this anymore.
That's
And
right.
yeah.
You eventually get out of the because it's typical for people's belief systems to go, well, I can't physically see it with my own eyes. And that's part of the process of going through grief from a loved one that's so painful is for us to believe, feel, sense, and see and know in a different way. We're not supposed to use the eyes.
Yeah.
And even though you can use your eyes to physically see things, signs and symbols, but it's also hearing, knowing, connecting and
Yeah.
believing again. And it's like believing that you're worthy and deserving of miracles and magic.
Yeah.
And that's why people will be what they call like they're like that's just a coincidence.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as a coincidence. Like we're here on what I call Earth School and everything's a message. Whether you hurt your leg or you are stopped at a red light, it's all specific and purposeful because that red light is stopping you from that to meet that perfect person at the grocery
Mhm.
store or to avoid a traffic jam or for you getting in an accident. When you live life so present for this moment day to day, excuse me, you'll see the synchronicities and the miracles unfolding every hour and you won't question things anymore. You're just going to say, okay, this sucks right now.
Yeah.
I'll understand it later and feel it, go through it, but it's all going to make sense.
Yeah. We are so as like we also live in a society where we're so used to just like the victim mindset, where if something wrong happens, we start to fixate on that
That's
and
right.
start to go on a spiral of like, my life is the worst, God hates me, and like all the things. And like we start to like put ourselves down even more
Mhm.
when shit happens,
Yeah,
when like shit are supposed to happen.
that's right.
Like it's supposed to happen because when you're always just if a car is just moving and just driving straight, you're literally just go A point A to B, like
Mhm.
with nothing. But when you're taking corners,
Yeah,
you're gaining more skill.
that's right.
I hope that made
No,
sense.
it
But
does. I understand your analogy is you're saying it's like going from here to here straight and
it's
you
just
don't
like,
have any stops or any
yeah,
redirections
yeah,
or scenic route.
yeah.
It's boring as
Yeah,
F.
it like it's
And
just stagnant. Like you
yeah,
didn't learn anything, you didn't see anything. It's just yeah, you could drive straight with just like your hands up and like it'll
yeah,
go straight.
yeah.
You know, you never gained anything.
That's right. And like my belief is we come here and pick these massive plans and these things that we need to overcome. And sometimes they can be the most horrific things at the time.
Yeah.
But it's like we're all going to be together again. We're always guided. And like Aaliyah's dad had to exit at that time. And like for her to have gotten that inkling and that nudge to go back and see him when she did,
Yeah.
it's like there's so much more at play that was guiding you to do that.
Yeah.
It was like this knowing. It was like you got to go.
Like I have to go because yeah, like that's not coincidence. The
No.
fact that I just like randomly wanted like had that longing of
Hmm.
just reconnecting with him and then a year later he gets like
Murder.
he gets murdered. It's like it's not coincidence. It's like
Mhm.
it happens for a reason.
Yeah.
You have guides that you don't know. There's like
Hmm.
your spirit team is always looking after you. They can use people. They can use like it's a matter of like, are you open to them?
That's right.
Are you shielding yourselves with doubt and fear and just like, oh, I'm not gonna do that because I'm scared, or like that might not work out, or that might just make things worse,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
you don't evolve like that.
Yeah. And a lot of the times too, it's like if I wasn't so open and just like, meet Aliya and do the healing stuff and just share with her openly. And I bring my cards and I'm like, let's pull from your dad. Let's, get messages. The healing that has happened of just the card pull
Yeah.
of the words that he says of I wish I told you I loved
Love
you
you.
more.
Yeah.
Like you can't make that up,
You literally can.
and
You
it's
can.
like what we need.
Yeah.
And it's like our loved ones, they go back and they're like, oh my God, it was just a blip in time. Like,
Yeah.
look at all the things I did or didn't do that I coulda, shoulda, woulda. And
Yeah.
that's why, like, I love sharing these messages because I'm like, we don't need to suffer. We can thrive while we're here. Yeah, we're going to go through a lot, but it's like the childlike joy, dance, sing, have fun, say hi to the
Yeah.
beautiful friend that
Yeah.
Aliya and I went months dancing beside each other. As we look back on these videos, missing out on this. We are so silly and wild, activate our child. Like the thing that I said to Aliya, I was like, I freaking love you so much because you see me for me. There's no judgment.
Yeah.
You love dressing up. We love putting our heels on. Like, even when people like you just go somewhere and you don't wear your heels, our heels are on. We've got our socks, we've got our stuff, and we're always like, less is more.
Yeah.
And let's
One
go.
time we showed up, we were supposed to hang up, and we showed up and literally wearing the same exact outfit, and we're like, of course.
It's so good.
It was so funny. It
And
was like great.
I'm like, she's just my spirit animal. And even with dance, like Aliya has placed herself in all these other dance groups around the city. And even some of the other girls found some other dance classes to go to. And Aliya's just like, Kristen, let's go. Let's go.
I'll
And
be
I'm
like
like,
egging her. She's like, "Oh, I don't know if I have the money right now." I'm like, "I will pay for you. I don't care. Just come."
yes. And that's the most beautiful gift. And I'm so grateful for you. And especially because things have been really challenging in my
Yeah.
world and like the support and the love and just the connection.
That's not the point for me is like life is so much more wonderful when you share it with people that you love
Mm,
and you connect with. And we have to get out of that, like when you do something for someone, it's because you want them to enjoy the same things that you're enjoying.
mhm.
It's just it's just pure love. That's it.
Yeah. And I like am so grateful for you
That's
and for
literally
that.
it. Yeah.
And so yeah, she's just like, Kristen, I'll pay for it. You go. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, I checked with my family, make sure it was all gonna work out. And it was just like, I'm there.
Yeah.
And like it's just breaking more
Yeah.
ceilings and facing and putting yourself in uncomfortable positions. And like Tammy is amazing.
Yeah.
The
She's great.
freaking Latin vibe.
Yeah.
And we're being pushed outside our comfort zone. Like even the clothes that we're dancing in, we're just like, oh my God, let's
We
go.
went balls out. Balls out.
Yes. We're
Yeah.
like 0 Fs because the only people that are judging us is us.
Yeah.
And it's like, let's break through another ceiling. And so, yeah, we just did our progressive and we performed
Yeah.
and we have to still post lollipops.
Yeah. But we're both like, oh my God, our asses are hanging. I don't know if
Yes,
I want to post this.
exactly. Actually, I have to share too, because obviously with all the signs and symbols, when Aliya told me about Tammy's Latin bloom and I ended up signing up. We go there and we're doing the beginner and the intermediate. And it was on our way home. And it wasn't even till like, I don't even know, a couple classes in. All of a sudden, it was like, what the hell? The lollipop song. The name of the guy is Darrell. And in the song, it goes, do,
Two.
do, do.
Yeah. Two.
two. That's
Yeah.
exactly it.
Yeah.
Two,
Two.
two, two.
Two.
And he loved Latin. Like he loved the whole salsa vibe. And I was like, our loved ones are so powerful.
Yeah.
They work so far in advance. Think about that. Is that a coincidence that that song has his name that we're performing to? That Tammy, somebody that has no idea who I am,
Yeah.
picks the song for us to perform in,
Yeah.
and it's his name and
And
222. As
222.
everybody knows, 222 is massive sign for him.
Yeah.
Like,
It's wild. And it's so crazy because when I first took the first season of Tammy's intensive, the first class that I took, literally I could like the whole class I was thinking of you.
mhm.
And I was
Oh my
like,
God.
Kristen has to be here. So it's clearly Dar. Like, okay,
My-
you gotta drag Kristen here.
yeah.
Yeah. And it all like
It just unfolds.
worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, Aliya's just like, I love what you said about um what you're here to do, like your purpose, and you said about learning.
Yeah.
And when you have your mind set on something like dance, you're like, I'm going to go all in
Yeah.
regardless.
Yeah.
So you went in all in with Empower. You did some one-on-ones with Shay.
Yeah.
You're doing all these things. You're seeking elsewhere because you have this passion that you are like, I'm going to do this for myself. I
Yeah.
deserve this.
Yeah.
I want to get better.
Yeah. And that's just for me, like, obviously, I've been doing a lot of healing too, and like with the things that happened in my past, and I've always ran away. That's just my truth. And I still have that urge when things go sideways in my life. I always have that urge of like, I'm just going to pack all my shit, sell all my shit, and move, thinking that moving will fix things when the thing that I'm running away from the most is me. That's what it is. And we all do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like we were like sometimes we're so scared to face the truth or actually just healing or doing a deep dive
Yeah.
that we just like, you know what, I'll just run away. And it's not gonna whatever you're running away from, it's not just gonna disappear. It'll just haunt you even like 10 times fold.
You got it.
And that's what happened to me.
Yeah.
Because like I think it was before I met Steve, I was like, I want to because things weren't going well for me, and at the time I was starting to kind of entertain the idea of just like handling my grief, and I was just not doing well. And I was gonna sell my place. I was like, you know what, this place is not for me. And I was like, I don't even know what I was running away from.
Yeah.
But it was just like I was just so unhappy for no reason. But I didn't realize that I'm not committing to the things that I love. I'm always self-sabotaging. And I'm
Mhm.
like, yeah, it's just like I never fully like faced my inner childhood and like
Mhm.
actually wanted to learn the things that I wanted to learn or like spark that fire that's
Mhm.
been wanting to be burnt inside me.
Yeah.
So it's yeah, like learning, like I don't think we're all like yes, we all have gifts coming into this world, but
Yeah.
if you're not open to learning, those gifts will not shine.
You got it. It's so true. And I say to people, it's like, you got to unpack it. And if
Yeah.
you're not going to unpack it in this lifetime, you're coming back to unpack it again. And you're going to cycle in that lesson
Yeah.
where it's like, stop and feel.
Yeah.
Feeling is healing, man. Like you can't escape shit. And like Aliya said, if she would have just picked up and moved somewhere else, she's bringing it all with her. It's on her
Yeah.
back.
I
It's
would have
within
been
you.
the same depressed human being. If I actually moved, I would just be circling around,
Yeah.
jumping back and forth with
Yeah.
no direction.
Yeah. And now it's like, you're like, I'm going to sit my ass down and I'm going to look at this.
Yeah.
And when we actually finally do, it's not so bad.
Yeah. And a lot of it too was like a programming. The masculine energy with me is really like high. So this whole like new feeling thing, because like I grew up in a household where like if you cry, you get spanked, and like
Yeah.
so a lot of it too is how we like the nurture, like that especially with men too, like that's why men don't show emotions, because like if you're showing emotions, you're weak. It's that
It's
whole
not true.
like stigma and like brainwashing of society. And that's the reason why no one's feeling things. Everybody's just so numb
Yeah. And
because,
so distracted
yeah,
from their phones, from their image, from their comparison, their job, their home. It's just, it's never enough.
yeah,
And
it's
it's
all
like,
escape. We're
yeah,
all escaping.
when you peel back the layers, you actually have so much. You have so much right in front of you, right within you, and so much to share. And like great friendships that are just effortless
Yeah.
and that are supportive and that are cheering each other on. Like, change your groups, change your family circle. Like, you don't need to entertain anything that isn't life giving.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't do it in this lifetime. Get out. Like,
Yeah.
you got out.
Yeah.
You needed to get out
Yeah.
and like started a brand new life. That is brave as fuck.
Yeah. It's
That is
it
huge.
wasn't as easy as it looks, but yeah, looking back, it's like, holy fuck, I did that. Like,
Yeah.
you know, you just look back and you're like, damn.
Your like 18-year-old self's like, fuck, I've got a contract with Kristen when I'm going to be turning 30, like 29, 28. I need to get there. Let's
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
It's time to move.
Which is so funny because my life right now, I feel like I'm just experiencing my teenage years.
Yeah.
Like it's so funny. I feel like I went through like becoming a mom at
Yeah.
like my childhood, and now I'm just slowly like becoming like, you know what, I start to get in like enjoy life. And like we don't even drink, but when we go out we're like firecracker.
Yes. And that's the beautiful thing. Like, we have so much in common. We don't need to drink alcohol. It's like, let's find life-giving foods
Yeah.
and nutrition and be in really good shape, love ourselves,
And dance
and
our
dance
house our
our
hearts
heart,
out.
our house is out.
Our-
We're dancing our emotions out.
yes, that's
Cheers to that.
cheers.
Cheers to dance.
Cheers to dance.
all of the amazing people that support and love us.
Yeah,
And
there's so many.
so many.
Like, dude, a group of powerful and supportive women is like it's a different level.
Mhm.
Like I just wanted to put that out there.
Mhm.
It's like this is why I truly believe God is a woman. Bite me.
Oh my God.
But like the force of like women supporting each other is insane. Like
Yeah,
it's insane. It's like life-giving force.
it is. And it's it's, I feel like this era, it's all flipped. Before, women were like in competition with each
Yeah.
other, where now it's like, no, we are like a unit.
Yeah.
G unit.
G
Whoa,
unit.
G
Girl
unit.
unit, bro.
Yes,
Bro.
totally. We are the girl unit, bro. Because it's like stronger, you're better together, unity,
Yeah.
and it's just bringing the collective vibe, bringing the consciousness up. My thing is, I say to everybody, I'm like, I just can't come here to help raise the planet, like the frequency, the energy. That's it. That's all we're here to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when you dance your way through that shame and you inspire somebody else and you heal your own grief,
Yeah.
you're doing that for everybody else too.
Exactly.
And sharing that shit.
Yeah.
Talk to
Two.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I was gonna say,
What?
I was like, should I say it or not? Okay, so I've got a pretty crazy sign. We got to share this synchronicity for us.
Yes. Yes.
So I have a
Yes.
crazy sign. I'm not gonna say this is something that will come back later when the whole thing, when I can talk about it. So one of my signs is 818. And it's crazy because this sign, I was like, okay, I got to think of this really good sign. It's got to be like, different, and it's got to be out there. It can't be easy. Not like my typical, since I was young, is the 143, which is I love you. And
Yeah.
that's not an easy sign, but a lot of
Like
people
common
know
signs.
it.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So I'm thinking and I'm like driving and I'm like, what's it going to be? What's it going to be? And I get this like thought in my head and I was like, okay, I'm like, it's going to be 818. To circle back for a second, I found out later, my friend, oh my gosh,
It's like my birthday. What
I hope everybody gets to see those balloons.
I know.
We're being celebrated right now from Dar and your dad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
they're literally like cheering us on.
They're like, happy fucking birthday.
Yeah.
So the 818, literally, I get it in my head. And then my friend D, out of the blue, this was later on down the road after I made this specific sign, she sends me a license plate and a photo, and it says Dar, and it says
818.
81, just 81. And that was the only reason why I was like, 81. And I sat with it. I was like, oh, that's the year he's born.
Yeah.
Is 81.
Yeah.
So 818 and then 8. So the 81.
Yeah.
And then 8 is infinity. And it's like completion. It's like the infinity symbol of like, never ending the cycle, whatever.
Yeah.
So Aliya and I were out at Cactus Club.
We were at
dinner.
Cactus Club. We were having dinner. And I don't know what we were talking about, but just randomly I brought it up to her because I was like, dude, I've been seeing so many 818s lately. And I was like,
we pulled the card and it was 8. It was 8 and then 18.
Oh, I see.
And you said that to me.
Yeah. So I was like, dude, I've been like having these like a lot of 818 numbers. And I told her it resonates for me because it's like I've always seen it as a good omen for me because it's my birthday. And she's like, shut up. She literally stopped and she was almost gonna bawl out. She's like, shut up. She's like, that is my sign. And it was like, what? We were both just like
mind boggled.
Yeah.
It's like decoding that because it's like, if I didn't get that download so many months ago for that to be my sign, and then she's like, my birthday is the 8th of the 18th. Sorry, 08, 18, 818. August fucking 18th. And I'm just like, and outside, I remember there's like police. And I'm just like, this is
You're like, you can't make this shit up. This is not coincidence.
No, there's no such thing. Yeah. And I don't even mess with that anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was wild.
I get blown away all the damn time. And so does she. And this is just what we're here to do, is spread awareness and have fun while doing it.
Yeah.
And be guided. Shake your booty and freaking post the video.
Yeah. Just like what Shay said, big and juicy.
Big and juicy. 100%.
Yeah.
You can live a big and juicy life in all areas.
Oh, yeah.
And have magical friendships.
Totally.
And like, take the leap of faith. Go to the place that you love. Like, if you want to paint, go to where painters are, because you're going to find your soul tribe, your soul family.
Yeah.
They're waiting for you. But if you're not taking those leaps of faith, they can't find you.
Yeah. You'll never find them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking get on that dance stage.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
It's
so cool because we're just cheering each other on every step of the way.
Yeah.
It's like we're these flock of birds that are just like
flocking.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that we need to share?
I think that was it. Synchronicities.
We have too many. Like, we haven't even been able to like scratch the surface.
Yeah.
But I feel like
the big ones, the main ones were like, no, for sure.
We're here for it. Well, this won't be the last of us.
Yeah.
Aliya, thank you for sharing your story.
Of course. My pleasure.
Your
Thanks
papa's
for having
proud of you.
Yeah.
He's like,
definitely listening right now.
Oh yeah. And that's the thing. Quickly, I said to Aliya when I was dancing, I was like, I'm going to be dancing this Lollipop 222 song. And I said to her, I was like, Dar's energy can see it, sense it, feel it, know it. He knows how hard I've worked at practicing. He knows the thoughts in my head of how, you have to overcome it.
Yeah.
And he gets to witness it.
Yeah.
And I said that to you. I was like, I'm just going to be, it's like I'm dancing for him.
Yeah.
And for our loved ones.
Yeah.
They all get to see everything we're doing.
Yeah.
Times 10.
Yeah.
And they know what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
We're the ones that are like, what's going to happen next?
Yeah. I wish you guys were there when she was dancing the lollipop, because you could just see, you could feel that Dar was there. I was like sweating. Like, you're already hot as it is, but
thank you.
It was hot.
I was lollipopping. Lollipopping.
She was lollipopping. It was amazing. It was awesome.
I said to Aliya after, I was like, maybe I shouldn't visualize that.
She's like, maybe I should not visualize dancing for Dar in front of a camera. It was really good, but
I'm
she's
gonna have
like,
to
it was too
PG-13 it for the graph. I gotta find an app that can help this situation.
Yeah, it's so good though. You gotta post it. You gotta post
It will happen. Well, anyways, thank you guys for tuning in and listening and sharing all of our love. Oh,
On the
Aliya,
casting couch.
you're gonna pull a card for the
Oh,
collective.
yes, we will.
Yes.
Let's see.
I love how we had like balloons and all the things.
And like the things.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Find those.
And Aliya has her
Find
own.
those who inspire you to bloom.
Wow, and look at hands are being held.
Grow together.
That's what's happening.
Community, connection, reciprocation. Isn't that what you just said?
Wow. And you know what's so beautiful is like Aliya's just taken this whole spiritual stuff and bloomed to another level and
Yeah.
got her cards, her signs, her
All the
team.
things.
Just so cool. So beautiful to watch. Let's see what the message is. If you guys have waited here this long, you might as well get the message.
Yeah.
Because they never lie.
Yeah.
Let's
All
see.
right, spirit team, loved ones, guides. Let's get some messages for the mass. The masses.
I like it.
The masses.
I like the masses.
Let me be the messenger.
Yes, you are the
Yes.
messenger. Whoop, whoop, whoop. I always love the shuffling part.
The sound of the cards.
Yeah. And you know what? I always say when it takes longer, I've got two mics. When it takes longer,
You're
it's
too hot.
it takes longer
This
because
is looking at
okay.
me right now. The mirror. Damn.
Whoa. Card 26.
26.
Let's
Okay.
show. Okay, guys. This is for you. It's gonna land. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. What does it say right here on the bottom?
Did you forget all you had to go through to be you? That was good. Damn.
Okay, here we go, mama.
Okay, the mirror. Self-reflection, writer, individuality, big picture. Affirmation spell. I honor the full book of my life, every chapter that I write. Didn't we just talk about that? That's crazy. All right. The author, the story, the mirror, seeing our full self, not just parts. It can be so easy to get lost in one chapter or one page of our life. But remember, we've got a whole book going and so many more pages to go. Focusing too much on details can cause us to lose our grasp on where we are. This can cause us great inner turmoil. We just talked about this. Zooming in too close to our life can make us feel that we're not doing enough, haven't done enough, are not enough. We feel unworthy or lose sight of our main goal to find wholeness and fulfillment by living our dharma and unique purpose. To overcome our unique obstacles and receive sacred gifts of transformation at different checkpoints in life. It doesn't happen at once. We're in this for the long game. Have you forgotten all that you have already been through and overcome just to get to this point? The chapter you are currently in, so much has happened and you have grown so much. You just can't always see it. Don't skip ahead. Enjoy the chapter you are writing now. This card can be a positive omen that something soon will happen to unlock more character development within you. That is something that leads you to a deeper knowledge of who you are meant to be, something that helps to bring you home to who you are. It could be a moment of realization or even simply a personality trait of yours that is alchemizing into something greater. I feel like every time I'm with you, this alchemy word is always it's always coming up.
Well, you're alchemizing everything into
Yeah.
making it your story into your purpose and your gifts.
Yeah.
But that you couldn't summarize our story or our episode with a better card.
Yeah.
And like that's
Perfect.
literally been your life, my life, everybody's life. It's like don't get fixated on one part of the story. You have an entire life to live.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
That is
Don't get
amazing.
distracted of what's
Happened.
making things difficult at the moment,
Mm-hmm.
or even when things are too good, don't get so distracted by them. Like
Mm-hmm.
like let things flow and always be open. That's one thing that I'm trying to learn right now is surrendering. Just surrender.
Well, share what about your experience right now? How you are like, boom,
Yeah.
you are in
I'm
the
like
unknown.
being like circle jerk right now. Yeah, so I just like I've been working through this whole surrendering thing and how um so I'm pretty not unhappy, but I'm just like not very fulfilled with my job right now, and literally I got laid off.
I'm not laughing, but I'm laughing.
Yeah, like it's crazy because the universe is literally like, dude, this is not for you. And I've been
Yes.
thinking about it for months to just move or switch like careers or company or whatever. But I was just lacking it because obviously it pays the bills. Again,
Yeah.
I was distracted because it's like it pays the
It's
bills right
comfortable.
now.
It's just
I'm
being comfortable.
comfortable. But anyways, I now that I slowly like I started last week where I'm just like, you know what, I'm surrendering. Whatever it is will be, and like whatever is right for me will come to me. Like I don't care how hard it gets, as long as I get to what my purpose is or what I'm
Mhm.
meant to do that will fulfill me, then so be it. And
Look at
1
what we're
week
doing.
later,
And
I'm freaking laid off.
it's just crazy.
Yeah, it's wild. And I'm like, usually, obviously, when you get laid off, you're like, oh my God, what do I do now? I'm not even worried. I
No,
was just like, I'm like free flowing, and it feels nice. I
it
just
does.
needed that break. And I think the universe just wants me to. I pulled a card after I got laid off, and it gave me the portal that
Yeah.
it's like new beginning. It's wild. I was
Oh,
like on the floor. I'm like, oh my God. Um,
this is
yeah,
new
it's saying
beginnings.
that like I'm going through a portal, it's new beginnings, and I needed to just like because like I said, I'm very masculine, so I'm like really always in control and like go, go, go. So this is teaching me to just like
Be.
surrender and be and just like take time and have stillness and peace and quiet and like all the Zen things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're doing it.
Yeah. We're doing it.
Carpet rips are always the best.
Yeah.
And we just don't always love them
Yeah.
at the time, but it's just
It's
the new
great.
beginning is
Yeah.
unfolding.
So I
Amazing.
am stoked for what's in store for me.
Stay tuned.
Stay
We will
tuned.
have to come back and update and share what we're up to
What's
soon,
going on?
what we're
Yeah.
up to next.
Yeah.
If you want to hear more from us, then you know where to find us.
Yeah.
And Aliya has her Instagram. What is your Instagram?
Miss.Aliya.
Miss.Aliya.
Yeah.
And she also has a dance. We have our
Dance
dance
pages.
pages now.
Mm-hmm.
Because we thought about it, we're like, we need to have a place to showcase for ourselves to see our growth
Yeah.
from the beginning.
Yeah.
And as you know, we do each show
Yeah.
and do different types of classes.
Yeah.
It's so cool to look
Yeah.
back.
Yeah. And I wanted to do more of like redoing older videos and kind of put them side by side just to see
Yeah.
like
The
just to
difference.
inspire others of what you can do. And like if I can do it and like if I've never danced before, then like anyone can do it. Like, you know, we're not any different. We're all capable.
Yeah. And Ellie and I are also doing duos together so we can relearn take our dances and
Yeah.
do them together.
Yeah.
There's just so many to do.
Yeah.
We have so much to do.
We're literally like in our teenage years, we're playing.
It's fun. It's a vibe and
Yeah.
it's like, do you?
Yeah.
Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. We will try again to end this, but
Yeah.
who knows? Thank you again, Ellie. I love you.
know.
So fun.
So fun.
Bye.
Bye.